Good evening. I'm Byron Scott with the CTV News Update. PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, are essential to modern technology, but are the risks worth it? A Waterkeeper Alliance report shows that Maryland has a high number of forever chemicals in area waterways. The nonprofit group collected samples across the country and tested them specifically for chemicals. They're widely used in industrial consumer products and can stain organisms indefinitely, accumulating over time in people, animals, and the environment. The report found Maryland had the highest numbers of detections out of 34 states sampled. Of particular concern is Piscataway Creek in Prince George's County.
There's a lot of this stuff in Maryland and in the Patuxent drainage because it's on military bases, so we know that there's a fair amount of it to be found at the Patuxent Naval Air Station, at Fort Meade. There's some Air Force installations around the area also. It's found in firefighting foam, and I gather it was also in de-icing chemicals at one time, so it's not unusual to find this stuff as runoff. There's enough exposition now of where it's been detected and found. I think we should be very standoffish and very careful about introducing it into human health, into the food chain. It is indeed in the water supply. That's a little harder, so we need to be very careful to minimize our intake of this PFOS, PFAS, forever chemical, the stuff that goes around that gets into your cells and your tissues and doesn't go away.
The Capitol News Service reports that firefighter training areas are hot zones because they use a fire suppressant foam that contains PFAS. Piscataway Creek has a military base nearby which has used the foam nearby the waterway for decades. Well, the county police department issues an urgent warning about a blue-colored pill they say is laced with fentanyl. Take a look at your screen. This is what the pills look like. Officers say the pills have been linked to a number of overdoses, 2 of which were fatal. Police say users may think they are taking pain pills. Officials are also asking parents to speak to their children before they come across these potentially deadly pills. Well, here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for our area. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed more than 1,200 new cases. The county's positivity rate is at 11.74%. 3 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours, and for the first time since early September, the number of COVID hospitalizations is above 500. Well, economic catastrophe has been averted with the stroke of a pen. President Biden today signing legislation that effectively takes the steam out of the threatened national freight railroad strike. The Senate passed a resolution yesterday. The deal gives unionized railroad workers a 24% pay hike by 2024, along with bonuses. But workers did not get the one item that was the center of the controversy.
And look, I know this bill doesn't have paid sick leave that these rail workers and frankly every worker in America deserves. But that fight isn't over. I didn't commit we were going to stop just because we couldn't get it in this bill that we were going to stop fighting for it. I've supported paid sick leave for a long time. I'm going to continue that fight till we succeed.
House Democrats adopted a measure calling for 7 days of paid sick leave, but that was rejected in the Senate. Well, despite recent tech layoffs, the U.S. economy added 263,000 jobs in November. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Job gains are mostly in the leisure, hospitality, and healthcare industries. The agency says the unemployment rate remained unchanged last month at 3.7%. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Stay tuned. Back in a bit.
Dear Santa, I hope you are having a good day in the North Pole. Is it cold all the time there? Is that why your cheeks are so rosy? My mom says I'm a good helper, but you didn't come last year. Was my chimney broken? I just really hope this year when I wake up, I'm gonna see that you came to my house too. Wow.
Donate and help the Marines deliver hope to a child in need.
Welcome back. You may have heard of genetically modified seeds, but how about trees? Under a new draft environmental impact statement by the USDA, the American chestnut tree could be reintroduced. Billions of chestnut trees died in the early 20th century from a fungus brought into the country on Japanese chestnuts. The nuts not only supply holiday treats, but the trees supply wood for homes, coffins, railroad ties, and more. Environmentalists are concerned about the new plan that would plant genetically modified trees into the nation's forests.
Unfortunately, most of the trees that have been tested, these GE trees, they were only 3 to 4 years old. There's several now that are 5 or 6 years old, but many of them are still getting the blight. They are surviving, But my point, and I think the point of some environmentalists, is that what's going to happen when the tree is 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, and 50 years old? That's when the tree will be huge and enormous. Are there going to be excessive amounts of this oxidase in the tree and the leaves and the pollen? You know, all these questions really are unknown questions. And I think the environmentalists are just concerned that there needs to be more study and more sort of longer term field trials before they're released into the wild.
The public can comment on the draft environmental impact statement until December 27th. Just check out the link at the bottom of your screen, then search for APHIS 2020-0030. Well, ridership on Amtrak is up significantly, but it still has the ways to go before reaching pre-pandemic levels. In its annual report, Amtrak says ridership is up 89% compared with the previous year. Operating revenues up 48%, but railroad officials say ticket sales are still below 2019 numbers, which is a record year for the company. Officials stress the latest numbers, along with infrastructure investments using federal dollars, have put Amtrak on the path to expand beyond pre-pandemic levels. The railroad says it expects to rebound to 90% of pre-pandemic passenger levels this fiscal year. Well, the National Capital Regional Transportation Planning Board released its top 10 list of worst bottlenecks. The worst in the region is southbound I-95 in Woodbridge, Virginia, and Prince George's northbound BW Parkway approaching Powder Mill Road in Beltsville, and U.S. Route 301 at McKendree Road in Brandywine also made the list. The results were gathered using traffic data from 2010 to 2021. And still ahead on the news, a disappointing loss for Flowers High School football team, plus a holiday visit to Enchant. Stay with us.
There's only a couple more days till Christmas left, so you better stay on that nice side of the list.
Welcome back. Last night it was the Flowers High School Jaguars going up against Quince Orchard Cougars for the State 4A football championship. The big game played in Annapolis, ending a disappointment for Flowers. CTV was there for the highlights.
It feels great. You know, again, all the credit here goes to the kids, how they played, our assistant coaches for getting these guys ready to play.
We got a goal in mind, 14 games to win it. We came a little short today.
What kind of challenge did Flowers present, and how did you guys kind of respond to it?
We just had to, show them that we wanted more. We had to strike first. Instead of letting them strike us, we had to strike back first. We showed them that we were here for that dogfight. We weren't going to back down.
We're right there. We're in a battle. We're in a war. I mean, we was really confident coming out of half. Just couldn't execute on some things we needed to execute on. And they made some good adjustments. And when they made those adjustments and we made some mistakes, and they went down from there.
What was going through my head is honestly a Chick-fil-A cookies and cream milkshake. That's what was going through my head the whole game. As soon as the kickoff, I was just thinking of how I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A after this and get a milkshake. That's like after every game.
He's gonna get a double milkshake after tonight.
Yeah.
Quince Orchard, man, they're well coached. They got some really good coaches from when I was in high school. There, I recognize a lot of them, and they train their guys really well. So I gotta give a shout out to them.
What do you have to say about Flowers? Because they're in the lead team as well. Getting to the state championship is a huge accomplishment. What do you have to say about them?
No, obviously Coach Powell is doing a phenomenal job. He's a great coach. Him and the staff done a phenomenal job. Obviously going 13-0, beating a team like Wise like that 2 times in the same season is incredible. And their kids should be very, 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 very proud of the season they had this year. Like I said, their kids, their coaches, their community, and their school did an awesome job.
All right. Well, looking for something to do this weekend with the entire family in the holiday season? Well, Taylor Thomas may have what you're looking for right here.
Enchant is back at the nation's capital for a third year. The Light Maze and Village Show at Nationals Park is the third largest in the world. There's so much to see, do, and yes, even eat.
I love the lights. I think my favorite part is that no matter how old you are, like, it brings all this Christmas magic to you. Like, it really does. It reminds me of my childhood when I was younger, and I think that, running through the lights and stuff, it's enjoyable for everybody.
What do you like most about Enchant?
Christmas trees.
How about you?
I presents.
I think he meant to say presents. You like the presents?
Yeah. What I like most about Enchant is that we have to help Santa save Christmas and that we get to ice skate, see lights, and these are all the stamps I have. I'm almost done.
Enchant features 10 acres of lights, the tallest holiday tree in the region, a marketplace, Santa, and of course, Mrs. Claus. In fact, we ran into one of Santa's helpers who had this message for little boys and girls.
Now, there's only a couple more days till Christmas left, so you better stay on that nice side of the list. We're keeping a big close eye out. But come join us down here at Enchant. There's lots of cookies to be eaten. Mrs. Claus is really hooking it up this year. So lots of special things to be done, not a lot of time.
Enchant, which is a Canadian-based company, is held in 7 other states at major league sporting stadiums or iconic venues.
It's an immersive experience for attendees who are asked to help Santa find his missing timepiece so he can make sure Christmas gifts are delivered to little boys and girls all across the world. It's pretty magical out here. There's a 100-foot high Christmas tree, there's archways, there's lighted mazes, and the ever so popular ice skating. Can you believe that? Enchant will be here until January 1st. From Nats Ballpark, I'm Taylor Thomas for CTV News. All right, guys, how do we do this? How do we do this?
Pretty simple. Y'all had confidence with your game, saying it's 50%.
Okay, Taylor, don't fall. Well, if you're looking for something to do tonight, you might want to head over to the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts for the production called Pooled, a gospel musical drama. Crews were putting the finishing touches on the stage earlier this week. The play, which features some former Prince George's County residents, is about transformation and delves into some heavy topics like domestic violence.
It's a twist on what people think of when they think that they're going to see a gospel musical. Many times people say, well, you can't talk about this and you can't talk about that way. And I was very intentional to make sure that if it's an issue that affects families, and although this is being told through Black lives and the African American experience, if it affects families, we were going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about it honestly and in a way that we see everyone's humanity, but we also see the power of God.
And the curtain goes up on Pooled tonight at 8 o'clock and tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. For more information and tickets, go to bowiecenter.org. And that's your news for tonight. I'm Byron Scott. See you on Monday. Good night.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.